Hello, hello, hello. It's Jenna Kantor coming to you live to talk about why I am personally invested in injury prevention for dancers and just performers in general. The first one is the obvious. I am a performer myself and I want to stay around other performers. I love performers. The second one, my husband and a good portion of my very, very dear friends are performers themselves. And I want to stay on the most recent research and data and care for performers so I can help my friends. And the third one is how it hits home personally. So this is actually a story for me on how I got this really heinous injury that crazily enough led me to physical therapy as well as a second profession aside from performing. So I was doing a show and I was with this great partner and we were doing this, the show was All Shook Up. Oh my gosh, I love that show. It's such a great show. The music and I can't say enough. And my partner was fantastic. One of those people that you can just really bounce off energy and stuff. And I really, I would say this was just one of those rare opportunities where I just felt so equally matched up with my partner. It was like, it's just the energy, the fun I had with him on stage. It was the coolest. Anyway, I can't say enough good. I have really good memories about that, sharing the stage with him. So this was, I actually take full ownership of this. There was a lift that we did together. It was really simple where his hands are on my hips and he lifts me up vertically and my hands are on his shoulders and I push up and then I have to tilt my head back and then just kind of kick my feet back. You know how when people do those, love pictures with their lovers and they just put up one foot back, as they kiss. This is just both feet back, head back. I don't have like a major arch in my back. So it's not that like phenomenal gymnastics, arch where the head and feet touch. No, I never had that in me. And from, I would say early on, I was getting this pain because he had to put me, he would lift me up and he would have to put me down by a certain note. And I would regularly get pain every time he put me down because on top of, gravity pulling me down, he was forcefully bringing me down to get me down on time. And I felt pain and I didn't say anything about it. And it wasn't because I was used to shaking things off. I was used to just being like, oh, okay, whatever. It just hurts a little, but it's fine. Let's move on. But then it slowly started to be something. And I was like, all right. So I said something to him and I said, hey, and I think it was late in the game with bringing this up. And I said, hey, I brought up that it was painful. I said, okay, so the first couple times he was very conscious about it, getting me down without that forceful. It was great. But then it got forgotten, but we were already in such a habit. And then I started to let it go because I was like, I'll be fine. It'll be fine. Well, lo and behold, one show, he brought me down to get me down to the music on time. I felt it. I felt it. Oh, it was so painful. It wasn't a pop, it wasn't a snap, but it was just a level of pain that was pretty high. And I want to say it was about a third of the way through the show, and I ignored it. And I danced the show, although I did feel it progressively get worse during the show. And then that night I went to bed and my foot hurt, but I was like, you know what? I go to sleep and tomorrow morning it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I woke up the next morning and my foot was in a lot of pain. And I had plans to go into New York City for an audition with my boyfriend at the time, or whatever, showmans, whatever you want to call it, to go into the city for auditions. And my foot was clearly telling me not to, but no, I still went. I went in sneakers and he knew right away. I was like, okay, my foot is killing me, but I still want to go. And then during the day, even though I was walking in sneakers and then I put on heels for the audition like an idiot, it got so bad. And so then on the drive back from the audition, I called the theater and I had to prove to them that the injury happened during the show because they were very, very like, did this really happen? Because, they saw me finish out the show, and then I was in the city and what am I doing? But I was just so used to being in such denial and didn't know how to properly address when something was that serious. And I finally went to the doctor for it and I ended up I had bruised bones, sprained and strained my ankle. I was never told, I didn't know to ask this question. I was never told to the severity of the sprain or the strain or what the actual length of time it would be to heal. The doctor had no idea in the recovery. He just knew what I had. And I was in a lot of pain. So I asked for crutches. And he was ready to just let me just walk out of there. And, you know, like, just stay off of it, you know, don't perform. And so I asked for crutches, which I now know in hindsight was actually a very smart move because of the level of injury I had. I have now, well, I'll get to later, now that I've gone to physical therapy school, when I learned exactly what it is. So I want to say, I'm going to guesstimate the length of the show run. I believe it was 6 weeks. It's been such a long time. So I was exactly halfway through the run at this point. And I didn't know how long it would take me to get back on my feet. And so I think he was just saying, let's see, in a week or something like that. And I just ended up missing the rest of the run, which sucked. I was singing backstage. I felt so useless. There was a point where I tried to go on the stage because I wasn't on my crutches anymore. And we just, it was the Heartbreak Hotel. I think that's the name of the song. And we just did some small little ball changes. Oh my gosh. And it hurt so bad. Even though I wasn't in my heels, I was putting these like little sneakers. And I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I didn't want to end my career short. I had all these fears. I also, you know, went from being respected by the cast and everything and having these bonds to just being an outcast in the cast because of this, because I just looked like some slacker, you know, and who wasn't jumping back in the show, even doing little things, standing on it. It hurt. And I had no guidance. Throughout this whole time, I, for some reason, was never sent to a physical therapist. I didn't know to ask for that. I just was like, oh, I'll just stay off of it. And then, I don't know, I was guessing. I was 100% guessing. And all I had to go off was the pain that I had in my ankle. And other people I remember getting advice from some people in cast saying, you know, I was able to just jump back in after a week or 2 weeks and everything. And here's the thing. There are certain grades of sprains and strains. I didn't know this then. So I was sitting there thinking, what is wrong with me? Why am I in all this pain? Why am I not able to jump back in? You know, why am I feeling shaky? Well, here's what it ended up being that I've now learned since testing my foot in physical therapy class. I 100% tore completely through my ligament, my ATFL. That's just a shortening for it's in the anterior lateral portion of my ankle, and that just completely tore, no longer there. And then on top of that was straining my muscle. I don't know the level of the strain because that was so long ago. It would need to get tested, but I'm assuming it was a grade 2. So it wasn't where it went straight through, but it was significant enough for me to even hurt that muscle using it. That's why I didn't want to stand on it, just like work. It was, and then the bruised bones. Bruised bones actually can take a really, really long time to heal. So I had these 3 things going against me. I should have been seeing a physical therapist right away. They would have been managing my pain initially, and then slowly, as my muscle was healing and working together, giving me help. They would have helped give me exercises to slowly get out of that. And I maybe could have returned after 2 weeks. I'm not sure. I mean, that was a complete loss of a ligament. It was, I'm guessing, I know it wasn't a grade 3. A grade 3 muscle strain or muscle sprain, that's a complete tear. But I'm guessing grade 2 just because of me not being able to use that muscle. But it takes a while. It takes a while to come back from these things. And I didn't know. So this is why I am passionate about injury prevention for dancers. I never went to a physical therapist. I ended up jumping into a show after that, into rehearsals for I believe it was a new show, or maybe it was a re-putting up of a show that I'd done. It was cabaret. And I jumped back into heels. It was really painful, but I sucked it up. And now I know that was stupid. but I never got the physical therapy rehab education to get that lateral part of my ankle strengthened and everything. Lateral ankle sprains are so common amongst performers, and physical therapists know how to help you get back with your own body. Every body is different. Always remember that. So that is a huge reason why I'm passionate. I do not want that to happen to anyone ever again. I'm sure that's been happening left and right at different theaters, and depending on where you are, if you're on tour, what have you. So I just want to be a part of helping people prevent it, or helping people even learn how to eventually recognize the level of an injury and not to continue dancing that very same show. You might just literally in that moment need to sit out and just go to prevent you from missing 3 more weeks. So that's it. That's why I'm passionate about injury prevention for performers. If you have any questions or on something that may have happened to you recently, please private message me. I'm happy to help. Take care. Bye.